Chuck in Hawaii.
Chuck.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, you guys were asking why humans are here. I could tell you that. The universe is here to provide a dwelling place for humans, and humans are here to provide a dwelling place for Jehovah.
So he's not omnipotent and can't provide. If he's omnipotent, though, he'd be able to provide his own place, right?
We did. Humans.
Yeah. Sure. Okay.
It says on the all right. Well, it says on the call screen specifically. It says that you have a direct personal experience with God. Did you prefer to talk about that, or?
Oh well, yeah. Well, I was like, well, that idea of why he created humans to provide. Take him in. He's here. He created you to provide for you to provide a dwelling place for him. So all you have to do is take him in.
Yeah. But
what's your evidence for this?
Yeah. Why should we believe that?
Well, he's invisible. You can't see him, and you probably can't tell who he's dwelling in, but the person.
Then he's not omnipotent, right? Or he's not omniscient. If he doesn't know who he's dwelling in, then he can't be omniscient. And if he has to be invited in, he's not omnipotent.
And I have an imaginary friend who's invisible. I have a friend that's invisible, and he says that he knows everything. He says, "You're lying to me right now." Seems kind of awkward, right? Because it's like, right? I don't really like. How do we falsify my claim that I just gave to you? It sounds like the same thing.
Well, you believe in air, don't you? You can't live without air.
Yeah, I think oxygen, like,
you don't have.
It's like physical.
Yeah, I mean,
air.
It's mostly nitrogen, but yeah, we can detect air, right? We can blow, we can see wind. Just because it's invisible doesn't mean we can't detect it. There are a number of things that we can detect that aren't visible. There are a number of things that we can detect that human senses alone can't detect. So what does any of that have to do with the existence of a God, which we don't have sensors to detect and we can't see the effect of? So where do you get your God claim from?
Because it comes to you.
You keep saying this, but you don't provide any evidence for it, right? And what we're looking for is evidence. I can make the same claim about an exact opposite God of yours. How do we tell which one is true?
Well, I can't give you evidence of God being with me, but I can tell you that he is.
If you can't provide evidence, it sounds like what you're saying is it's reasonable to believe things without sufficient good evidence to do so.
Well, there is evidence. There's evidence in the universe.
It just sounded like you
What is that evidence? This is what we're asking for.
Yeah, it just sounded like you just conceded to Jim that you didn't have any justification.
Okay, if you'll give me a second, let me talk.
We can give you 60 seconds if you want. Throw it up.
Okay.
Give us 60 seconds. There we go.
The universe. Can I start now?
You're on the clock. You got 50 seconds.
God damn, the evidence. Universe.
You asked me a question and I responded.
Are you going to let me talk or not?
I'll give you an
The
initial
universe
30. Go ahead.
Does not work. Oh, shit. You are the most weird dudes I've ever talked to in my life. What the hell's the matter with you? Are you going to let me say something, or are you just going to keep interrupting me? The universe does not work. Something is causing it to work. The atoms do not have anything holding them together. There's no such thing as gravity. There's no such thing as time. Things are being held together by God and made to work. It's obvious when you look at these things, and if you're honest and want to see.
So you just had your 60 seconds. It's up. You said gravity doesn't exist, and while gravity is not a force, apparently we can detect it. We can detect gravity waves. We can detect how it works through a wide variety of things. So when you make a claim like gravity isn't real, you're making an extraordinary claim, and I need extraordinary evidence to do that. And you saying gravity isn't real, therefore God, is completely nonsensical, right? Because you got to prove that gravity doesn't exist first. You can't just say that, and you can't just say that God exists. And you can't say that electrons just do what they do. We know why electrons do what they do. We could measure them. We could forecast. We could predict what they're going to do to some extent. And yet we have evidence for this, right? We have ways to detect atoms and electrons and protons and neutrons. We can actually, and we know that they're composed of things. So everything you just said flies in the face of science and everything we do know, and doesn't actually support your position. Because they can't, because you haven't actually provided any evidence for any of the things that you've claimed. So
all you
you still have no evidence.
All you did was stack more claims on top of it, and then just said God has to be the one. That was the whole, like, from the outset, what we asked was why God would be responsible. Just being like, well, there is not gravity, which one just like increasingly makes your case more difficult, because you're just saying something ridiculous that we can demonstrate, like give you like a mathematical like equation on with like force, right? So this is going to be a really weird uphill battle for you. Instead of just stacking claims on top of more claims, do you actually have something that isn't parasitic on your conclusion, right? For example, you started talking about like God causing that. That's just parasitic. That's just already the thing we're trying to establish. So do you have something that is a chain of reasoning that all of us who are not wedded to the idea of God could come to an agreement, or no?
Well, your theology is totally based on the teaching of science, and science is a lie.
Okay, stop.
They lie about everything.
I'm gonna mute you.
Yeah.
I really don't. I get mildly frustrated when I ask a question and then someone says, "But you've already messed up. If your reason for believing has anything to do with me, like I could pass away from a heart attack right now, and you would still have this question of, do you have justification for your belief? I clearly don't play any causal role in that, right? So just focus on your claim and focus on supporting it. Do you have support or do you not have support? And don't stack more claims on claims. Just give support for the initial claim that God is responsible for this. We can get into the no gravity thing if you want, but just give me evidence for God.
Well, that is the evidence. The evidence is matter. Matter is eternal. Oxygen is a good example. You breathe in oxygen, it keeps you alive. You breathe it out. Somebody else breathes it in. It keeps them alive.
Chuck, I have you on mute again. You can't cite something like matter, something that me and Jim also agree with, and then say that it favors the theistic hypothesis. Because, I mean, I see matter, and I'm a naturalist. That's constitutive of my view, so it clearly doesn't settle the dispute. Just pointing to matter, like it'd be no different than being like, there's a dresser, God. It's the same thing as if I said there's a bed, naturalism, right? You got to put some more meat on the bone. I want your A game, Chuck. This is like, it's like flunking, right? This is really bad.
God, you can't shut up, can you? My God, look, matter itself is eternal. Now, does that make any scientific sense that matter is eternal? That the universe is eternal? It doesn't wear out. It is.
Stop going on.
Stop. Yeah. So first of all, the universe is not eternal. However, energy is eternal. Energy is equal to E equals mc squared. So energy and matter are the same thing at the square of the speed of light. So you're slightly misspeaking there, but not a whole heck of a lot. And yes, it is eternal. So therefore, where did it come from? If you're going to claim that God created it, and because he's omnipotent, you still need to demonstrate that he exists. And the universe is not eternal, right? It had a beginning and it will have an end. Everything that we have so far says that. Now, whether the cosmos has a beginning and an end, we don't know, because we don't know anything about the cosmos, except the universe that we're inside of. So here you go, stacking a bunch of claims, saying a bunch of things that are not demonstrably true. And the reason why we believe science, and no, science is not a theology. There is no God involved. That would be the theo part of theology. And the reason we believe science is because it provides evidence. We can do an experiment. We can do multiple experiments. You want to know that gravity exists? We can do experiments to prove that gravity exists, right? If you want to know that electrons exist, we can do experiments to show that electrons exist. We can do this stuff and we can show evidence without stacking more claims. And that's all you continue to do is stack more claims and whine about people over talking you when they're responding to something that you said. So I don't know where you really want to go with any of this.
Look, science is just another religion. Only it's a religion without that says there is no God.
Chuck, are you Chuck? Chuck, stop! I've asked you like 4 times to stop going on about other views. Support your view, or I will hang up on you. Right? And when I hang up on you, that means you failed. It means you flunked. That means you got to call in next week and try again, which I predict. My hypothesis is that my novel prediction is that you will fail again. But maybe, just maybe, you can give everybody in the audience, every atheist, a come to whatever you believe in moment by just giving evidence. When you say science is dumb, science is stupid, I didn't do any of the hard work, like people who go to university and actually do the research in labs. When you want to focus on that, you're taking yourself away from actually supporting your view. It's very frustrating to have to say this to you like 5 times. So I'm going to ask you again. If you fail, I'm going to hang up on you and we're going to move on to other callers. So this is your last chance.
It's my ass. You're a stupid shit. And all you do is you just hang up.
All right, have a good one.
I hung up on him for you.
I was right there. Oh, man. That was kind of worth it, though.